counter punch. Telling him not to counter punch.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought.
Telling him not to counter punch.
Welcome to yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, AFN leave athletes that will represent Nigeria at the Paris Olympic Games. And coming in from Formula One, Rui Hamilton gets back to the top position on the podium. In football, Bayern Munich snapped Crystal Palace player in a 5-year deal. Details of this and many more will be yours when we return from the break. Welcome back, Sports Talk, and Mike is here. Okay, let's get started straight away. Of course, we start in athletics, where Team Nigeria final list ahead of the Paris Olympic Games is here. 35 athletes have been named as part of the contingent going to the Olympic Games, out of a possible 82 that was primed.
I think for me, those that have been listed for this very one were carefully chosen for those who met with the criteria of Athletic Federation, because there are only two criteria to which one could get qualified. And after passing those criteria, I think 35 of them who have been duly chosen, we say yes, these are the best of hand that we have. People that have also passed, the fit and the benchmark set by the Athletic, Federation of Nigeria during the national trial, and also the Athletic Federation of the world as well. So for me, carefully take a look at those names. Is this the capable hand that we have? Are they good enough to go and get us, medals in different categories? Of course, yes. I think I carefully perused through those names, and I have no doubt that indeed this one that have passed, the mark, and those that have been selected are truly the best hand that we have to offer as it stands right now. And I believe with adequate preparation, at least 35 of them can be rest assured that most of them will come back, doing the country proud.
Top athletes are selected to represent Nigeria at the Paris Olympic Games, and let's look at maybe one or two names that is on the list, like you mentioned. There is first, is there any person that's supposed to be on that list that is not there?
Like I said earlier, it's not about having your favorite name there. Such person must meet up with the criteria of the Athletic Federation. First of the criteria is that you must meet the R mark, which is the 10.00 second. If you actually hit that mark, then you get the automatic qualification. Then another one is by the national trial out there for the second phase of people who made it through. So for me, take a look at the likes of Chukwebuke, Nekwechi, Favor, Ashe, just name them. I think these are the best hand as it stands right now that we have to offer, because these are the ones that met with the criteria. And I believe with
Soro, there is Christina Ochonogo. Don't forget Tobi Amuson in the men's 400 meters event. There's Chidi Okezie, Samuel Ogazi, and of course in the men's 800 meters event there is Edoze Ibada. While in the men's 400 meter hurdles there's Ezekiel Daniel. Nathaniel. Then in the javelin there is Prosper Chiyochirim. Then in the men's shot put, the well-known Chubuka Nekwechi is there. In the men's 4x100 meters event there is Alaba Akintola, Favor Ashe. So Gosin Brume Kanshula, like I did mention before. Owozurike is there as well. Then Orishe Letishekiri is there as well. In the men's 4x400 meters event there's Chidi Okezie, Duben Amene, Duben Wachuku, Ifeanyi Ojeli, and Samuel Ogeze. Then in the women's 100 meters event, Favor Philly is there, Rosemary Chukuma is there, Tima Gombles is there. In the women's 200 meters event, there is Favor Philly. In the women's 400 meters, there is Ella Onujuvevo, and then there's Esther Joseph. Not forgetting in the 100 meters hurdle event, the well-known Tobi Amuso. Then in the long jump, there is a Brume, Ruth Soro, Christina Ochonogo. And the women's high jump event, there is Temitope Adeshina. The women's hammer, there is Shade Olatoye. In the women's discus, there's Ashley Anuba and Choma Onyekwere. Not forgetting Obiageri Amechi, who is completing that one. Then in the women's 4x100 meters event, Favor Philly will return. Justina Yapoye, then Olayinka Olajide, Rosemary Ochukuma, Tima God Bless will compete. While in the mixed 4x400 meters event, Ella will be there, Esther will be there, Elo, Israel Okon, then Patience Okon George as well. Not forgetting Omolara and the Sikiru Games. Meanwhile, Nigeria's women discus through Choma Onyekure is delighted to have made the list. I'm very sure if you make the list, go to the Olympics. That is the apex of your career.
Definitely, because every aspiration, hope, and dreams of any sportsman and woman out there is to make it to the Paris Olympic Games, which seems to be one of the biggest sporting events across the globe. And of course, when you make it through out there, it's also, another honor for you individually as an athlete out there. So for me, most of them that have been selected for this very one are truly, truly happy, because they are going there, to showcase their talents to the world. So for me, I think it's a bigger platform for you to express yourself, for you to show your God-given talent. And no doubt, she's very, very happy of being part and parcel of this contingent. But talking about the contingent in the whole, you saw those names that you just ruled as star-studded list. You may want to say most of the names are just familiar names that that have been doing us proud here in the country. So for me, I'm rest assured that they are going to do the needful out there. But then, like I said, it's always a thing of a joy for you to make it through to the Paris Olympic Game, because it's one of the biggest sporting events across the globe that people want to, take opportunity and express and show their talent, their God-given talent rather to the world out there.
Well, we say congratulations to those who have made the list of Team Nigeria going to the Olympic Games, and hope that they will find the exciting times there, and of course do get to the podium at the Olympic Games. Talking about Nigeria, the Olympic Games, it is one of the countries that has consistently participated at the Olympic Games, and 2024 will not be any exception, and wish the athletes representing the country the very best of preparations ahead of the Olympic Games. And for the first time, it looks like the Ministry of Sports and the Athletic Federation of Nigeria do not have any, stone unturned.
Yeah, you see the partnership between the sport minister himself taking the lead, talking about Senator John Owaneno, also partnering with the AFN, as the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, to ensure that there is a proper planning, a proper preparation for most of these athletes. So for me, I think working in tandem with each other will also help them to complement the effort of the athlete as well. By so doing, they will have hope that indeed most of our athletes is going to go out there and compete favorably. And this is what we want to see, not just in the Athletic Federation, we want to see it in all that sport. Every strata of the sport should be adequately prepared and liaise with the sport ministry so as to ensure a proper preparation and planning for the task ahead.
Well, proper preparation and planning, and we will need to see that culminate at the event proper. Let's quickly now stay away from let's go to basketball, and something seems to be cooking in Saarbrücken, Germany. Mike?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's about the D-Tigers because their preparation for the Paris Olympic game as well. You know, we've been drawn against a very strong group that consists of Canada, France, and USA, if I'm not mistaken. Australia rather. So I think we need to prepare very well. I've been waiting for the camps to open because most of our opponents, they have actually started camping since last month. Some of them have played about 4 friendly games, and these are some of the strong opponents. Most of the opponents will have there. In fact, they are ranked ahead of the D-Tigers, and for them to have started preparation 3 weeks ago, and we are yet to start any preparation. So for me, at a point, I became worried. But good thing that the Ren and Wakamalet side is going to start their own preparation out there in Germany. And I believe with the help of the good facility that they have there, they are going to also prepare themselves. I understand that some friendly games have also been rolled out for them to take part in that very one, to keep themselves in shape, because the Paris Olympic game is just by the corner. And we need this proper preparation for the girls to go out there and compete favorably well with the rest of the team out there. So for me, I think timely, but I had expected this campaign to open earlier before now.
Well, they say better late than never. René Wakama and the D-Tigers are already in Germany preparing for, of course, a very important outing against
some of these big name players, and the Basketball Federation of Nigeria didn't work out well, and that is why we saw some of them. In short, most of the names were dropped, in the last FIBA Afro Basketball Championship here, which the D-Tigers emerged victorious despite the short time that they had to prepare with Ren and Wakama, but still went there to it's going to help the country to see if we can be able to surmount our opponent who, like I said earlier, are way ranked better than the D-Tigers.
Talking about big name players, there's Ami Okonkwo back to the team, the Ezine Kalus there, Promise Amuka Mara is there, there is Nicola Nelbosi, Tommy Taiwo, Funaya Okoro, and of course Akpana, Palace Okunayi Akpana in the squad as well. Blessing Ejiofor, Lauren Ebo, Sholakwe Amuson, Rita Ibokwe, Lucy Ibe, and of course Adeleye is in the squad. Christian Wala is making it as well. So these names are some of the big names. Most of them play the basketball outside of the country as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it also gives us that leverage and team balance as well, for us to fight effectively against other players out there. But I should have expected at least some other locally based players at least to get a game start out there, because you get to give some of these home base that belief so that they can be able to be part and parcel of the squad and make their mark as well. But then I think the names that are there, these are experienced names, most of them plying their trade out there away from the shores of the country. So they understand the intrigues, they understand their club career, what they have achieved so far this season. I tell you, most of the picking alongside other players out there, because we need players that are playing week in, week out for their club side, not those who sit on the bench. So for me, I think it's a very, very...
The British Grand Prix just came to an end a couple of hours ago, and one man is elated. Lewis Hamilton, after 2 years, quite a long period, I must tell you, 2 years, 7 days, 7 months, and about 2 days, he returned to the top level position on the podium. In fact, the last time he won, like I mentioned, was over 2 years ago. And for you to see Lewis Hamilton, one man that has been a serial winner, not getting to the podium in over 2 years, that's quite a long period of time. But thank God he's back at the British Grand Prix before his family.
Discussed here about 2 weeks ago, where Lewis Hamilton was coming of his improvement. Earlier in the season, the first 3 races of the season, he finished. He was languishing in the 9th. He was shuffling between 9th and 8th position. But as the season continued to wear on, he began to pick that momentum. He began to pick that, the spark back, finishing 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. That was the sign that indeed he was coming very close to it. And over the weekend, it was a closely encounter between him and Max Verstappen of the Red Bull, but at the end of it, I think the experience was able to help him count, and he made it 104, tied on the same line with Michael Schumacher, the legend. So for me, I think it's a massive one. You listen to the chief principal talking about Toto Wolff, you know, after the race out there, eulogizing Hamilton for his resilience and dedication so far. And that is what it means for you to also be focused despite the obstacle and challenges. Just keep doing what you know that is right. And this is what got Hamilton back on track again.
Hamilton winning with just a second over Max Verstappen.
That's why I told you there was a keenly contested encounter between him and Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen on the circuit out there was actually watching the race very closely. He was trying to use some of those his gimmicks to maneuver Lewis Hamilton, but it didn't work out this time around, as Hamilton actually stood his ground and was able to come out top in that very well. I say a big congratulations to him.
At the stage, Lando Norris seemed to be in commanding lead on this one.
Yes, but at some point as well, I think he lost it. It was a momental loss of concentration for me, for Lando Norris. You know, that is what actually caused him. At a point, I thought maybe it was going to be between him and Max Verstappen. But at some point, also, like I said, it was a momentary lack of concentration. He couldn't maintain that, speed out there, and that is why he was dethroned by Hamilton and Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen coming second in this one, and Lando Norris in the third place position. Something happened. George Russell, the other Mercedes driver,
it looked as though he was going to cry somewhere, somehow, but I don't know, maybe the marshal came in and helped him, and I think that is one of the reasons why he could not finish in a very respectable position. So for me, I think it's a quite disappointing one, but then I believe he's going to draw strength from his teammate who also came first in this very one. Maybe in the next race, we might possibly see him also challenging for a podium finish.
Is this Mercedes back now? We talked about the quality of the car, and do you think the car is back? Mercedes can continue to win for the rest of the season?
No. We just have about 12 or 13 races to go as it stands right now. Despite the fact that we've seen a little bit of touches, a little bit of refurbishment for the Mercedes engine, but then I still think that the Red Bulls still have an advantage, you know, as it stands right now. But then if there's anything to go by the last race that we just saw, Hamilton coming top, we want to say yes, they can compete. Out of the 12 races that is remaining, you can be rest assured that at least before the end of these 12 races, the Mercedes and Hamilton will definitely win one or two again. But to compete against the likes of Red Bull, I think it will be very, very difficult, because I don't think that their engine is totally back to what it used to be.
To go of course, the man in charge of Mercedes, they are giving hope that Mercedes is back. We'll see in the other races that are left. This is at British Silverstone in, of course, before British fans. It's a familiar turf. But again, the man, Lewis Hamilton, has made record. One driver, 9 titles. No other driver has gotten that.
Yes, like I said earlier, he was equal with Michael Schumacher on 8, but this time around, I think he has surpassed that record and set himself clear. It clearly tells you of a man who truly, understand what it means to be a driver and to be on the circuit out. And I tell you, it's a record that is going to stand the test of time, because even some of the great, like I've mentioned, Michael Schumacher didn't get past 8. So for me, massive record for him, out there that he has achieved for himself, and still counting, because it's not done and dusted yet. He's still counting. Who knows? Maybe before the end of his career, he's going to set even more difficult record that will be very difficult for other coming drivers to break out there.
Well, enough of Formula One now. Let's quickly go to tennis, and of course, the Wimbledon is out there, the 3rd Grand Slam of the year, and we are seeing big name players, progress to the round of the 4th round. And but just first, let's review what has happened in the female category, where there's a big name player that has crashed out. Coco Gauff, surprisingly, did not make it this time around. She crashed out in the 3rd round.
Yeah, disappointing for Coco Gauff. Not just Coco Gauff, but we have some big names, especially in the WTA, that have also crashed out. Even the Marketa Vendrosova, the defending champion, also.
That was in the very first round.
Yes,
that was early disaster.
Was hosted out very early. Iga Swiatek, the world #1, who you expected as well to go all the way to the final, has also been hosted out. Imara Raducanu. So these are some of the big names.
Imara Raducanu beaten by a relatively unknown player.
I was shocked. I was shocked as well when I saw the result, because I thought maybe it was going to be a walkover for Imara Raducanu. But then you want to say that most of these British players, they don't always live up to the
Lulu Son, the lady from New Zealand, took her out in straight sets, all three.
It was quite disappointing. He couldn't find his rhythm on the game. I actually went back to watch the clips. I don't know what seems to be the problem. He struggled. Even
6-2 in the first set.
Yes.
She managed to come back in the second set, 5-7 or so. Then another 6-2 sent her out.
Yes, I think, like I said, quite disappointing. He couldn't find his rhythm on the game, and his opponent was way better than her out there. I think for me, there is need for some of these British players to start asking themselves what seems to be the problem. There seems to be
and this is a British tournament, so to say.
Yes, in their own...
For the fans, before their backyard.
Where you expected them to at least bank on the hope of the home crowd out there to deliver when it matters most. But they just, couldn't do that. I think for me, it's quite disappointing, but then that is the game for you. If you don't, come to your A game, you are not at your A game, you don't come to the party when it's demanded, then don't be surprised that even other players that are not even better ranked than you is going to disgrace you, and that is what happened.
Mostly disappointing for the British tennis followers, because all of the athletes, players have crashed out of this one. Let's see, any major shock in the male category?
No major shock per se in the ATP. No major shock. We still have some of the big names, the likes of Novak Djokovic, who earlier lost his first set. He looked as though he was going to receive a shock of his own life, but then he bounced back very strong in his second and third set to also make that one count for him. Yannick Sinner still very much around. Carlos Alcaraz still very much around. Taylor Fritz. These are some of the big names. So relatively, there are no big name shockers so far in the ATP.
Alcaraz taking out Hugo Hubert in the was a 4-setter there. Then Daniil Medvedev is still there. What do you make of the two of them? Medvedev now will have to contend with Yannick Sinner in a clash of titans.
I think for me it's going to be one difficult game, but then I see Yannick Sinner looking at his form so far this season. I think that Yannick Sinner would definitely have an advantage in heading into this very one, but then I can't rule out any upset. But it promises to be a mouth-watering game, one that we must watch out for.
Well, that will be much we can take on this first half of the program, but we'll return back for more exciting sporting stories. Don't forget there's still football. Semi-finalists have emerged at the Euro Championship, and Brazil have gone home from the Copa America. With details of this and many more, we'll be yours when we return for a break.
Why you ask? Oh,
They see so you know guarantee safe delivery. Oh.
We just vote for government, but we not get good governance.
at all.
Road so e no dey. So who side? The infrastructure nko, e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No vex, now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently. Make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country. This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadayi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract where we do that time now? They don't pay.
Hey! But first, you see the house rent would.
At the Paris Olympic Games, and beyond that, we told you how prepared the D-Tag in Australia. And the Wimbledon, we told you, is introducing some shocking results as well, as the #1 player is out and all of the British players gone. World number Novak Djokovic is still powering on as well after qualifying for the 4th round of the Wimbledon. So it's been a shocking one. My female #1, that's a defending champion, have crashed out of the competition. Talking about Margareta. So it's been that of mixed fortune at the Wimbledon. Now let's bring you some latest around the world of football, and we'll start first in beach soccer, where KB Beach Soccer Club emerged winners of the 2024 Nigerian Beach Soccer League. This is interesting, Mike.
Yeah, it's a record-breaking one for the KB side, as they won it 3 consecutive times in the 3-year-old competition out there. They continue to show their dominance in the beach soccer out there. I think for me it's a massive victory for them. You listen to their coach over the weekend talking tough. He said that they are not ready to give in for anything, that even next season they have already started preparation. That is to clearly tell it's a great team. I mean it's one of the best teams when you talk about beach soccer here in the country, and we must also continue to support them, and other states as well need to earn from the KB team out there, because winning it 3 consecutive times, like I said, is never a mean feat.
Very important win there for the KB side, like he mentioned that history, because it's they won it 3 times now. No other beach soccer squad has been able to win it that number of time. It is movement period in football. Let's start first in Nigeria for players and coaches as well.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's a Exodus, I want to say.
For players and coaches as well.
For players and coaches as well. We saw Finidi George the other day when he was being on field. Some players of the Rivers United as well, leaving the club, striking a deal with other foreign club as well. So it is the season, just like we say, we definitely continue to see.
Henry Makinwa we understand, is poised for a return to the Premier League here in Nigeria. He was former Katsina United coach.
Yeah, I think he's one coach that really has what it takes. He has a UEFA badge A, coaching license. He also has badge B and badge C as well. So why not? He has what it takes to as well to also come back and continue his coaching career. But which team we definitely go for his services is what we coach any of the team. But we'll still keep our fingers crossed, hoping to see any of the team that is going to grab his signature. Yes, I think for me it became necessary when CAF also raised their banner.
Yeah.
That indeed, if you upgrade their coaching CV, which for me I think is a nice one because it's going to add more value to the coaches here that we have in the country.
There are a lot of players movement. Rivers United already, by the last count, almost like 5 or 6 players are moving, and Remo Stars seem to have the same number of players, on the move.
Yeah, for Rivers United, I'm thinking I'm a little bit worried. Worried in the sense that some of their players' contract have expired, and they have not yet renewed some of those players' contract. And these are key players. We've seen some of the players as well leaving for greener pastures as well. And this is the time that Finidi George is coming. How is he going to cope with all of these challenges? Some players leaving the club, some of the important players as well not yet renewed their contract. With all of these challenges, I'm beginning to get worried. If Finidi George can actually hit his target of giving Rivers United a continental ticket, which is what he promised. That was his mandate when he was unveiled a few days ago. But then I still believe that they can also do some quality recruitment and add to the rank to see if they can be able to finish very strong this season.
Well, it's players' movement. If the contracts are not renewed, I'm sure they are having other plans. But I expect that management of the club side, for me, it's very worrisome for the way clubs are managed here in Nigeria. Every season you see half of the team, being, changed. And that does not allow for, let's say, continuity or even better performance in the season under consideration. Because when half of the team is changed, it means that there will be new playing pattern and all of that. And I think it's worrisome, but I'm sure for Finidi George and others, they should be able to know that, yes, they will have their own players that they will come with, but it will only take time for them to gel. Meanwhile, referees are not out of the action for the mid-season as well. They are asking for better remunerations and working conditions.
Yes, the country, like we all know, the prices of things right now in the market have skyrocketed. It's almost tripled and not double again as it stands right now. And the referees, they don't have a separate market where they go to purchase their own goods and services out there. It's the same market as well. So for me, I think that is why they deem it necessary to also, knock on the doors of the league body and the NFF as well to look into their own plight and see if they can get at least a better pay. So for me, I think it's quite coming at the right time because, like I said, the economy is biting. Everybody understands the situation.
Well, Nigerian referees, at least for once, are not completely old because the remuneration was coming. But I think now what will happen is, they're talking about is the size of the remuneration.
Yeah.
And of course, I think that will be looked into by the Nigeria Football Federation, those who actually take care of referees in the games. Now, let's quickly go to the Euro Championship, and the semi-finalists have emerged. Turkey are back home alongside 3 others. But let's look at those that are in there. England is still in the competition. They sent out Switzerland. And of course, we have the Holland still in the competition. They sent out Turkey.
Yeah, I think for England, their fairy tale run continue. They always make it happen at the nick of time. Their game against Switzerland, it was almost done and dusted when Switzerland, scored that goal that seemed to be a heartbreaker for the English national team out there at the 70th minute. But then they have Bukayo Saka to thank for that late equalizer as well. But I think England, most time they are always lucky to be pitted against some of, not maybe some of the big name teams as well. Take a look at their opponents in the last World Cup. That is how they managed their way through to get to the World Cup semi-final. Then this time around, I think they've also continued to manage, because you take a look at their group game result, those 3 games, they weren't convincing down to this point in time. You expected that England should knock out Switzerland at least before they
went into penalties.
Yeah, they went into penalties, and that is to tell you how England is struggling so far against a Swedish side. For England, that parade most of the big names, the Hurricanes of this world, they struggle so far. But I tell you, just like their coach Gary Southgate said after the game, that whatever it means for anybody, but for him, he thinks that they've done a great job so far. So let's hope that they are going to continue in this run. But coming up against the Netherlands, I think that is going to be a very tough one for them. But we are waiting to see what comes out of that game. But for Holland themselves as well, they are not firing, from all cylinders. They are not convincing as well. They are just struggling, just the way England is struggling as well. But I tell you, it's going to be a very great clash between Netherlands and England over the week that is coming, possibly on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Wednesday, well, of course, the other fixture at the semi-final stage of the European Championship will be encounter between Spain and France. That promises to look like a more tougher fixture than England versus Holland.
Definitely. I think it's another blockbuster game between the Les Blues and Les Rojos. Talking about the Spanish national team, and for the Spanish national team, bookmakers would definitely give it to them because of what they've done so far in this competition. They are the first team to pick all 3 points in their group games, winning all their 3 group games, and they continue to go on from there, defeating the host country, talking about Germany, with their experience and mixture of youthfulness as well. It's not mean feat. I think for the Spanish national teams, they've been very, very great so far in this competition. One of the teams that have scored the highest number of goals in an open play. So for me, it promises to be a mouth-watering encounter between them and France. And France, on the other hand, they are not also doing pretty well. But then, when 2 elephants meet, definitely you expect a very tough encounter come Tuesday.
Something interesting about the England qualification. Bukayo Saka did score that equalizing goal. If not, they were almost on their way out. And he scored his penalty kick. And that brings back memory of what happened in 2020 Euro final, if you remember. That was played in 2021, where he lost a penalty kick and he was almost crucified. But this time, Bukayo Saka looks like, in that match, he was man of the match. But beyond that, the fans, I think, owe him something.
Definitely, they owe him something. Definitely. After he was, touted, after he was nearly crucified on social media, the abuses that was rained on him after missing that penalty last time, I think it was too bad. But this time around, they've also come to deliver the English national team at a point where some of their fans, they nearly, they were beginning to shed tears even before the conclusion of 90 minutes, because it was very difficult for them conceding such late goal at that hour, at that minute. Look as though England was packing their bags and baggage, but then Bukayo Saka with his magical feet came back to deliver the English national team. I think the English national team fans, they owe him a lot after the abuse last time, because he is the man that delivered for them, and he also won the man of the match award. So for me, I think they owe him more respect this time around, and apology for what they did to him last time.
Nigerian Bukayo Saka playing for the English national team there. This time around, having the best of the fans, because he was almost crucified for making them to lose at the 2021 Euro Championship. Well, so the pairings at the European Championship is France versus Spain and England versus Holland at the semi-final. Fixtures coming up on Wednesday, and we hope to follow it up for you here on Atlantic Television and Network. But it's crucial. The big boys are really at the stage, as we say here. Let's look at what's happening at the Copa America. The biggest news coming from the Copa America ongoing in the United States of America is that Brazil, favored Brazil, right now out of the competition. They're beating Las Vegas just about a couple of hours ago. By goalless, the match went into penalties and, of course, went the way of Uruguay.
Brazil has been very disappointing in the last 12 months right now. You take a look at their calendars and their international games that they play, both the friendly games and the normal matches out there. Brazil have not been able to find their form back in the days when we need to know Brazil as the Samba boys. If they're not, or free, they would definitely punish you with rains of goals out there. But this time around, I think they've continued to by the playing an advantage, because in the 80-something minutes, the Uruguayan player got a red card. You thought maybe the Brazilian, they will capitalize on that numerical disadvantage of Uruguay and take the lead. But then the Uruguayan, they hold firm, they hold very strong to the end of 90 minutes. And in the Copa America, their own rule is very simple. When you get to 90 minutes and there is no goal, no victor, they move straight into penalty shootout. They don't go into extra time of play. And that makes it very, very difficult for them. And when a game gets into penalty shootout, it can go either way. And that is what happened to Brazil. Very disappointing one for them.
Brazil out of the competition, and we still have Argentina in there, and Canada. And you wonder, Canada still in, can I just...
they've made the opportunity count for them as they continue to push. Let's see if they can be able to progress further, or they are going to meet their Waterloo in this game.
Canada...
You don't want to buy into that excuses for me, because if you take a look at the Brazilian side, they are always good in some of these monkey post kind of play. Because while growing up through the streets, you watch some of their old clips out there, you discover that most of their game out there, they play the street football before they get to the academy and start doing. So for me, I think that excuse is not tenable for me. It doesn't hold water. The truth is that Brazil were not good enough, and that is why they lost. They should have no excuses. They should just accept, their defeat, go back and start working on themselves to see if they can be able to regain their form again. So those excuses for me holds no water.
Brazil out of the Copa America, and I think that's